to, and then once you get out of the Jim Crow era, when you start seeing like the 1970s, there were significant strides for African Americans. And in 1965, the fatherless home rate was at 25%. Right. By the time of the, I believe by the time we got to 2015, we're at 73%. Right. So now, if you put that into context, where we began to start really like in the 1980s, like from the 60s, it went to 5%. Then it went to, this is overall. But then when you go to 25% and you begin to start seeing the 73%, where it really increased, was the crack time. Then the 1980s is where it really flatlined into this very huge, situation where you had a significant, if not almost all black children are born out of, to single parent homes. 73% is very huge. And now during that period of time, you're talking about the unemployment rate also increased, right? So you have two things going on. Crack being funneled into the community, and people say, well, it was. There's proof of that. And you're seeing jobs, especially jobs that would typically, they were taking, industries out of the inner city. So when you talk about mass incarceration, right? I have a degree. If you got a felony on your record, you can't do much of anything.
Exactly.
If you got kids to feed, you put me back, and I had to feed my kids, and if I got to do it on the corner, that's something that a lot of people are going to do. So then you're starting to see this spiraling into, now the question is that accidental, Rosa? Do you think that that's accidental, or do you think that that's by design?
I think that's definitely structural. That's definitely by design. And we can see it with the fact that, the crime that is mostly talked about in the news is black on black crime. When it came to Nipsey Hussle's death, you can see that the news are really capitalizing on his death because of one of the reasons why is because it was a black on black death. And what he was trying to do was saying, hey, look at how we can make it. Look at how a black man that is, educated and doing his things out there, we can be a part of the 1%. We can be financially free, black sisters and brothers. Yet that is something that is not seen that much, because even other rappers, they still kind of advocate for the 9-to-5 job, for the worker life. But Nipsey was different. He was trying to advocate for financial freedom. When you have financial freedom, you're able to actually advocate for things that you care about. And you're able to unite as a community and not clock in and clock out anymore, but actually fight for your people. So I think that it's definitely structural. The oppression of, it's the reason why we hear of these deaths and all of these massive killings and of more black males being killed is because it's structurally designed. The system allows for it because there's this term in this theory called racial categorization, where there's always somebody at the bottom, and that is what allows for that 1% and for everybody else to be at the 99%. And sadly, blacks have always been at the bottom, and it's because it's structural. And we see it now with the death of Nipsey Hussle, that how people are reacting. They're really capitalizing not on what he did positively for his community, but rather it was black on black crime,
Yeah. And that's really important when you start saying that, because now it's also the legacy.
Yeah.
That kind of tends to go to the legacy. It's not, again, when you have certain individuals who go out there, they're doing something, then the way they wanted to make it look like is that he's some sort of street dude, and that basically he gets killed in South Central Los Angeles by another gang member, and then they want you to kind of count it out that way, because that's the way that they do it. They always come after our legacy. They always want to. That's the reason that cinema and entertainment is so important to this country, because the one thing that they do is they export negative images of African American people.
Exactly.
And when people come to this country, the way that they judge African Americans is what they see in cinema and they see in rap and they see in different places. That's why the more positive message that you have, the less likely you're going to be able to get a deal. Unless you're somebody like Nipsey who is independent. You know, so that entire negativity had basically consumed the music industry. You know what I'm saying? And so now you got someone like that who's talking positive, and it's not rap, he's talking revolution. If he was in there just talking nonsense and he wasn't really doing anything positive, then I think that it would be, you know, different. But the reality of it is, because he's doing positive things, and he's doing the one thing that we really don't teach people, right? And that is ownership.
Exactly. And look, you got to look at it like this, you know, for those who come from the religious perspective or the religious background, you got to look at Nipsey Hussle as being the hood prophet or the hood messiah, so to speak, because he was able to speak to the people in the hood on their level. They were able to understand them, because he did not go outside the community and then get rich and stay outside the community and then try to come back and do a few donations. No, he stayed in the community. He rose up in the community. He stayed in the community, and he spoke about the upliftment. He tried to change the whole narrative of the community. He wanted a day before he got killed, he was supposed to sit down and talk about how to curb the gang violence. And see, a lot of people don't know that he was behind the scenes. He was talking to other gang members because he was doing rap music with other gang members, and they was able to sit down and come to a common agreement that, look, we have to change the whole dynamics. We have to start buying certain stuff. And then you got to look back what changed his whole perspective. Like you say, he went to his country. He understood exactly, you know, who he was. It filled that empty space. But if you look at one of the articles or one of the talks that he done, he talked about with Tony Muhammad. He talked about how he was on 10th Avenue and one of his friends had got killed. Somebody had gunned him down, and they put the sheet over his head, but they still saw the breath coming out the body because the sheet kept moving, and they kept saying, "Hey, move that sheet, go, you know, do CPR on him." And then what happened is, I guess his friend ended up dying, but that changed something in him within itself, you know. And then not only that, the people that was kicking him out of the parking lot every day, don't hang out here, the police arresting him there, turn back around, he goes and buy the whole corner up, and then come back and have the same people that kicked him out of the parking lot, they now working for him. Man, this is amazing. This is the story. This is the hood story that every kid should know about.
That's what I'm talking about. At least, and I said, you're buying a prime real estate.
So and that's the thing. Like, he was actually trying to make other people to be able to afford financial freedom for other people in his community. And to that, you know, to people who are wealthy, to people who are already in the 1%, that is scary, because you're talking about, you know, this man who's actually trying to get them to be financially free, which will give them time to actually engage and really unionize and act on things that they really want to make a change in their community.
Absolutely. Okay. So anyway, we'll be back with Justice Watch with Attorney Zulu Ali and the Justice Watch crew on the other side of the break.
I'm mad. Got to get back. I need some get back.
There's a new nationally syndicated radio program that's sweeping the nation, and you don't want to miss it. Justice Watch with Attorney Zulu Ali, the voice of justice for the people. The focus of Justice Watch is to provide an honest analysis and viable solutions to the criminal and social justice crisis in America and the world from a black, brown, working class, and socially disadvantaged perspective, and to motivate listeners to be informed and part of the solution. Zulu Ali is joined by the Justice Crew, consisting of Rosa Nunez, Michael Clark, Dr. Akil Bashir, and Charito Ali to tackle the most pressing issues. Host Attorney Zulu Ali is a former police officer, U.S. Marine Corps veteran, and an award-winning trial lawyer who focuses on representing persons accused of crimes, immigrants, victims of discrimination, and persons seeking civil justice. Find out how to listen to Justice Watch with Attorney Zulu Ali at justicewatchradio.com. Nubian Pictures presents a CCM Films production documentary entitled Purpose and Freedom. Keep your hand on the plow. This emotional and strong documentary tells the story of African-American lawyer Zulu Ali seeking justice and his purpose as a lawyer, while crossing paths with Araceli, an undocumented immigrant from Mexico who is seeking her freedom. Together, they help discover their purpose and freedom in each other. Watch this incredible film today from iTunes Movies, YouTube Movies, Amazon Prime, and Google Play Movies. Learn about the cast and crew, links to purchase, and more at purposeandfreedommovie.com. Purpose and Freedom. Keep your hand on the plow. Available now. Rated G.
I did not feel safe. That's why I decided to come to California, because I didn't feel safe in Mexico.
It's kind of like the system, and if you go outside the system, then it becomes a struggle.
Are you an immigrant seeking defense representation and are looking to protect your rights? Or maybe someone who is experiencing an injustice or discrimination and need a lawyer you can trust? Well, that's exactly why you need the help of award-winning trial lawyer Zulu Ali. The law offices of Zulu Ali provides immigration defense representation for those seeking justice and looking to protect their rights. If you or a loved one needs professional legal advice and representation, then contact Zulu Ali. Zulu Ali's firm focuses on criminal law, family law, civil and personal injury, and international law. Zulu Ali is a former police officer and U.S. Marine, so you know you're in good hands. Serving all of California and immigration cases nationwide, representing victims and suspects at the International Criminal Court at The Hague. Call Zulu Ali today at 888-682-3049 or visit ZuluAliLaw.com.
Welcome back to Justice Watch with Attorney Zulu Ali. I'm Attorney Zulu Ali with the Justice Watch crew, where we're talking about the tragic death of Dipsey Hussle, a case of community violence, a positive black man being targeted. Now, I kind of want to go into, just for information's sake, I want to go back to kind of like making, I know oftentimes as we go forward in issues or in situations where we lose people, or where we get these setbacks and we see all these things that are happening in our communities, whether you're talking about the way in which the justice system has actually failed us, and in all these other types of ways of the way that we're being treated by law enforcement. As we go forward, I'm hoping that one of the primary things that we have is that sometimes way too often we've been our revolutions have been short-lived. Mm-hmm. There's been this whole idea of basically, the consistency. We've had gang truce before. We've had, situations where the community has tried to be as conscious as we possibly can. However, it tends to, for whatever reason, be extremely short-lived, and I haven't really understood, why do we forget so easy? Why do we, we take a situation and all these individuals that have lost their lives, I hate the fact that, did they lose their lives in vain? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, is this the way that he would want his legacy? What did he want out of his legacy? I mean, if something like this to happen, what would he hope that the community would do? Yeah. And the only way that you honor those individuals like Nipsey or other individuals that have came before him is to actually keep moving and continue to to build on what he had actually started. Why we don't continue to do that, I think that sometimes our history of the oppression that's been designed is strong. Right? And as a friend of mine said, always says, he says, man, they did a really good job on us. Yeah. And oftentimes the oppressive nature of individuals who have been, the concerted effort of centuries of trying to destroy you, both your image and your will, it's a lot to deal with, and it's hard when when social construct, when the whole design was to oppress you, right? How do you keep moving on, and how do you encourage these individuals to keep moving on? One of the things, if you recall, both Bilal and Rosa, is when we had our last workshop in LA and the one young man said that, whenever we do have positive, black men, something always happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the question is, how do we, and oftentimes that's the message.
Yeah.
But in light of that, we have to continue to, what do we tell our young people to keep them to move forward?
Well, I think it comes down to fear. In certain respects, it comes down to fear, but it also comes down to, like you say, it's just been a job done on us where we tend to forget and we move on. And there's those a few that will continue to keep the torch lit and continue to move forward. But that's just like with anything, everybody is not going to continue to move forward. There's going to be those just going to just fall by the wayside and continue to go back to life as normal, because I think that it's become so common to where we have learned to accept it and we move on. But like I say, you do have those individuals that will continue to keep the torch lit, that will continue to move forward. The sad reality is that I would hate to think that, in a couple of weeks or so, you're going to go back to this gang violence once again, and there will be, no benefit came out of it other than the fact that it was just that one particular day, that one particular moment. The doc says it all the time. We live for the moment. It's not nothing that continues after that point. It's only for that brief moment, and we continue to go on, and as thing is normal.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we've gotten to a point where we basically have normalized this conduct, and I'm hoping that basically, as much as we try, across the country, it's a really sad situation when you see someone who's positive and really has tapped into, what we really need in order to move forward. And we have to become, encourage our young people to take on the spirit of somebody like Nipsey, and to kind of continue to encourage younger people, because that's where we're losing. We're losing our younger people, at a rate that's just unbelievable, and they don't know what to do, and they've also lost a lot of respect and a lot of confidence in their elders. They feel like that basically, in light of the fact that, we're always telling them, to do things positive, but in light of the fact that they are being told to do things positive, what is the result of it? It's hard to tell a generation of people where 73% of the men aren't in the household, what to do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so when that happens, and again, is it done by design? I think that, clearly, the system produces that result.
Oh yeah.
And if the system is producing the result that causes 73% of the men not to be in the household, and produces the result of the majority of the black men somehow to be incarcerated on probation or parole, then it's difficult.
Yeah.
There's been a time period, the 1980s, the 1990s, and thereon. We've gone from one type of slavery to another, and now that you have someone who, I call him, he left the plantation.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you leave the plantation, they send somebody after you. Sometimes the person that they send after you looks like you, and sometimes they go themselves.
Yeah.
And it's the same, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so the thing about it is that Harriet Tubman says, I freed thousands of slaves. I could have freed thousands more if they knew that they were free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole idea, is trying to, Nipsey's one man.
Exactly.
The reality of it is that we need much more than that. We need thousands and hundreds of thousands of Nipseys.
Exactly.
We don't need someone to just kind of, not just memorialize him, which he deserves to be memorialized, but we also have to make sure that we have hundreds of thousands of people who wants to step up, who want to move into his position. And until sometimes being free is not easy. When they can shut you up, when they allow you to put you in a situation where you're not really scared to do things for your own people, then you're not really living.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is we have to be braver. We have to stop allowing them to do the things that they do in our community.
Exactly.
We have to be able to take care of our women and take care of our children. They should not be able to go into those communities and do those things to our women and our children. The way they do the young men from the times that they're in elementary school to the time that they get into high school is where they capture them and make them slaves. And as men and as people in our community, we got to stop allowing that stuff to happen. We got to step up, and we have to be men, and we have to make sure that they're not doing that. And, we have to definitely do more as a people, and we got to continue to keep the revolution going.
Exactly.
Well, that time went fast. All right. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Justice Watch with Attorney Zulu Ali and the Justice Watch crew, and on behalf of Rosa Nunez, Michael Bilal Clark, and Dr. Akil Bashir, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, same channel, and until that time, stay blessed.
Payback. Revenge. I'm mad to get down with my girlfriend. That ain't right.
There's a new nationally syndicated radio program that's sweeping the nation, and you don't want to miss it. Justice Watch with Attorney Zulu Ali, the voice of justice for the people. The focus of Justice Watch is to provide an honest analysis and viable solutions to the criminal and social justice crisis in America and the world from a black, brown, working class, and socially disadvantaged perspective, and to motivate listeners to be informed and part of the solution. Zulu Ali is joined by the Justice Crew, consisting of Rosa Nunez, Michael Clark, Dr. Akil Bashir, and Charito Ali to tackle the most pressing issues. Host Attorney Zulu Ali is a former police officer, U.S. Marine Corps veteran, and an award-winning trial lawyer who focuses on representing persons accused of crimes, immigrants, victims of discrimination, and persons seeking civil justice. Find out how to listen to Justice Watch with Attorney Zulu Ali at justicewatchradio.com.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hey! You got to pay back. Revenge. I'm mad. Got to get back. I need some get back. Pay back. Pay back. That is. Pay back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Busy Saturday, I'm Pete Fox. 2 NBA playoff games in the books on the first Saturday of playoff action, and 2 higher seeds swipe home court advantage right away from the lower seed. First, it was the Nets coming away with a 111-102 win over the Sixers in Philadelphia. Karis LeVert had 23. Head coach Kenny Atkinson.
Earlier in the season, or especially when we were struggling, we'd lose games like that. We'd have to get a lead and turn the ball over and take bad shots. And I just think our maturity level, our collective maturity has improved so much. And that being said, I was still nervous even with the 12-point lead, but I thought we did a pretty good job closing it out on our defensive discipline, and then offensively taking care of it.
Then in Toronto, the Magic went on a 5-0 run in the final 40 seconds, led by DJ Augustine, who had 25 points. to upend Toronto 104-101. Day 3 of the Masters in the books, and the Augusta National Golf Club was ripe for the picking. Low scores to be had by all. Francesco Molinari sits atop the leaderboard at 13 under par after a 66. Tony Finau, one of 3 64s on the day, is at 11 under par, along with Tiger Woods, who fired a 67. Brooks Koepka is 10 under par, 3 back. Webb Simpson and Ian Poulter, 9 under par, 4 back. Dustin Johnson and Louis Oosthuizen in a group at 8 under par, 5 back. Ricky Fowler still on the brink of contention at 7 under par, along with Adam Scott, and Phil Mickelson teetering at 6 under par. Take note of earlier start times due to weather tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Action will be underway as the groups will go off in threesomes. Television coverage on CBS begins at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm Pete Fox. This is NBC Sports Radio.
This is KCAA.
NBC News Radio, I'm Phil Hewlett. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she has not had a chance to speak with Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar about a controversial remark Omar made about 9/11.
As is my custom with my colleagues, I call them in before I call them out, so I'll look forward to hearing from her.
Pelosi was speaking at the close of the House Democrats' annual policy retreat in Northern Virginia yesterday. Omar recently referred to the 9/11 attacks as, quote, something that some people did. Omar is one of 2 Muslim women serving in the House. Meantime, Speaker Pelosi calls President Trump's tweeting habits unpresidential.
What is his purpose in tweeting? I don't know. But our purpose is working together to get the job done for the American people. And really not to inflame, but to unify.
Pelosi said she makes it a practice of not responding to Trump's numerous tweets. She argued that there is serious work to do. Tiger Woods is only 2 shots back heading into the final round of the Masters. John Clark reports.
Francesco Molinari leads the Masters at 13 under after shooting a 66 in round 3. Tiger Woods and Tony Finau are just 2 shots off the lead at 11 under. With severe weather expected to move into Augusta Sunday afternoon, the groupings and tee times for the final round have been adjusted. Players will be grouped in threesomes with tee times to begin at 7:30 off the number 1 and number 10 tees. In Augusta at the Masters, John Clark, NBC News Radio.
Mazda is recalling more than 200,000 compact cars in the U.S. and Canada. The company said the windshield wipers on its Mazda 3 can fail. In documents filed with the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration today, it says the recall covers cars from 2016 through 18. The problem is metal deposits can cause a wiper relay to stick, which will prevent them from working and limit the visibility of drivers. There have been no reports of injuries because of this problem. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Rent-A-Center is lowering prices like way down. Now for $19.99 per week, you can get an Xbox One or PS4. And what better way to enjoy those consoles than on an Alturo Dune sofa with a reversible chase? Again, for $19.99 per week. $19.99. Rent-A-Center has a worry-free guarantee, free same-day delivery, and competitor price matching. Rent-A-Center, located in the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands, where the 10 and the 210 meet between the Alabama and Tennessee exits. Rent-A-Center, $19.99 per week. Sale price is valid until October 28th.
Erin here from On the Brink Morning Show, where we talk about all that is engaging in the Inland Empire. News, politics, business, family, things to do, and so much more. Join us weekdays from 6 to 7 a.m. on KCAA 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, and 1050 a.m. or on KCAAradio.com.
Ontario Host Lions Club is hoping you'll come out to their 10th annual We Serve golf tournament. Check-in is 11 a.m. on Thursday, June 20th at Sierra Laverne Country Club. Ontario Lions supports 7 local charities and 8 area projects. Dean Munoz is the golf tournament chair. Give him a call at 909-481-1180. That's 909-481-1180. Come on out and golf at Sierra Laverne Country Club on June 20th to support the Ontario Host Lions. 909-481-1180.
And now it's the Better 80s Music Show on KCAA.
enough.